Left of the box. Monope Americans can't all flee to Canada. The rich will be fine wherever they are. Yeah, that actually reminds me because I was watching a lot of Canadian news recently to get information on, the convoy, the rulings and all this sort of stuff. Like if I'm reporting on Canadian news to you guys, I should probably be watching more Canadian news, but it's so dry and boring and oh my God, and they're all the same. And I realized a lot of them are clueless to the realities of the situation. And they all have like actually very balanced views. Like the conservatives are very reasonable and they'll call out the extremism and stuff. But I'm looking at all of them and they're all speaking from this place of privilege. It doesn't matter to them which government we get, they'll be fine. What you don't see on Canadian news is someone like me. Somebody living with poverty, somebody living with disabilities, somebody whose life is in jeopardy with these policies that are in place. You don't see us on any of the Canadian mainstream networks. It's all people, who've been through university, who have their degrees, who come from wealthy family backgrounds and all this sort of stuff. You don't have diversity of class in mainstream media in Canada. And so for them, it's easy for them to have reasonable takes and stuff because they're not worried about the outcomes the same way I am, or the same way a lot of you will be. And it really is eye-opening because if the conservatives here in this country really were as balanced as some of these news broadcasters think they are, then yeah, it wouldn't be so bad. But a lot of the right-wingers that are so upset and going so hard, it's because they're struggling. Their life is in turmoil. They're losing the things that they want. Like it is, they're in desperate times and they're just turning the wrong way to find solutions. So they're so out of touch with where a lot of Canadians are. Like those newscasters will always be able to afford groceries. Whereas like half the country right now struggles every time we have to go to the grocery store. Like more than half of Canadians are a certain amount, $100 from not being able to cover an emergency. More than half of Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck. And yet our representation in office and in the media are of people who will never need to worry about that. So their bias is always going to be a classist bias.